Hola, David, ¿cómo está usted?
Muy bien, ¿y usted?
Está cansado, pero todo bien.
Muy bien. Bien, entonces ya habla algo de español.
Más o menos entiendo, pero necesito practicar. Mi papá es de Mazatlán, en Sinaloa, México,
Oh, muy bien.
y mi mamá habla un poquito, pero we just never practiced, so that's what I'm here for.
Perfecto, está bien. Bueno, vamos a comenzar. Let's get started with an evaluation in this situation, just to figure out exactly where we should start from. And then we'll go from there. All right, so I'm just going to ask you a whole bunch of questions in Espanol. Because it's a test, I need a full, complete sentence for the answer, okay? Muy bien. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Cómo estás tú?
So the full answer would be, I am well. How do you say I am?
Yo estoy bien.
Eso, okay. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Emilio, o Luis Emiliano.
¿Cómo se deletrea Luis?
¿Mande?
¿Cómo se deletrea Luis?
I actually don't know what you're doing.
No? Okay.
Can you say it one more time?
¿Cómo se deletrea Luis?
Yeah, I actually don't know what that means.
No worries. ¿De dónde eres?
Yo soy de Denver, en Colorado.
¿Te gusta Colorado?
Sí, mucho.
Full sentence.
Me gusta Colorado.
¿Cuál es tu color favorito?
Mi color favorito es rojo, creo, o negro.
¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono?
Mi nombre de teléfono es 720-290-0247.
¿Cómo se dice table en español?
Mesa.
¿Qué significa libro en inglés?
That's a good question. ¿Mi favorito o un libro significado?
¿Qué significa libro en inglés?
¿Qué significa libro en inglés? Creo que...
That's okay.
I don't know. I have a very interesting group of books. I would say the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga Sutra, but those come in multiple languages. But
that's actually not what I'm asking you. So that's okay.
You're asking what a significant book in English is, no?
I'm just asking you what libro means.
Oh, libro is just book.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, misunderstood you.
I know, that's okay. ¿Dónde trabajas?
Yo trabajo en el Departamento de Seguridad en la agencia de manejo de las emergencias.
Okay.
FEMA.
Muy bien. ¿Y bailas la salsa?
No bailo salsa.
¿Comes la comida mexicana?
¿Mande?
¿Comes la comida mexicana?
Sí, yo como comida mexicana 3 veces en una semana,
Muy
más
bien.
o menos.
¿Dónde vives?
Yo vivo en Westminster, en Colorado.
¿Qué te gusta hacer?
Me gusta dibujar, ¿cómo se dice? Me gusta algo. I'm probably saying that wrong, aren't I? Yeah.
That's okay.
I know what you're asking. I don't know how to respond to that.
You know exactly, and I understood your answer, but yeah, we're just trying to figure out where to get started. So that's okay.
Of course.
Don't worry. ¿Quién es tu mejor amigo?
Mi mejor amigo, creo que mi novia, Madison.
Okay. ¿Y qué hace ella?
Ella trabaja en la ciudad de Denver.
Describe esta persona.
Ella es muy inteligente, hermosa, graciosa.
¿Tus padres cocinan?
Cocinan. Cook. Sí, ambos. Mi papá cocina. No. I forgot how to say he, she cooks. I know what you're asking, don't know how to respond.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. That's exactly what we're doing this. Muy bien. ¿Dónde están tus padres?
Mis padres viven en Brighton, Colorado.
¿Y de dónde son tus padres?
Mi papá es de Mazatlán, en Sinaloa, México, y mi mamá es de Minnesota.
¿Qué estás haciendo ahora?
Ahora yo hablo contigo en inglés y en español.
¿Qué está haciendo tu mejor amiga, tu novia? ¿Qué está haciendo tu novia?
Ahora mi novia trabaja en Denver.
Okay, perfect. Cool. So you definitely speak a lot of Spanish. So nice job. And your accent is perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Missing a few little pieces of the language here and there.
I am.
I think we should start with the second level.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now I'd like to give a lesson just to kind of confirm that it's the right place.
Okay.
There we go. Muy bien. Entonces, vamos a comenzar Fundamentos de Español, Lección 1, Fundamentos de Español 2, Lección 1. So this is our second level of Spanish. I'm really preparing, my students have learned how to speak in basic terms. We're trying to add detail, add the ability to talk professionally and start making friends with Spanish speakers, right? And I'm also really big on teaching the cultural differences. Here's my contact information. So go ahead and take a screenshot if you can, just in case, you know, you can't show up to class on time or you have questions or something like that, so you know how to get in touch with me. And then I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn if you'd like to add out to your social media networks that way.
Okay.
Pues yo soy de los Estados Unidos, pero también viví en España, Argentina, Chile y Ecuador. Por eso soy maestro de español. Viajé a muchos países hispanohablantes, conozco Cuba, la República Dominicana, México y más. ¿Y tú de dónde eres?
Yo soy de Denver, Colorado.
¿Y conoces la América Latina? ¿Conoces algún país hispanohablante?
Sí, mi papá.
Pero
Es mexicano.
un país is country.
Right.
Like, have you been to a Spanish-speaking country?
Y toda mi familia vive en México. Y 1-2 veces en un año I'll go visit in Mexico.
Vas 2 veces por año. Muy bien. Perfecto. Pues soy maestro de español desde el 2005 y soy el fundador de The Language School. Antes estudié en la universidad los negocios internacionales, el español y el mercadeo. ¿Y tú? ¿A qué te dedicas?
What's that question you just asked me?
So what do you do for work?
For work. Yo trabajo con senadores y oficiales en las agencias de gobierno. Y yo trabajo con los desastres en Estados Unidos.
Muy bien.
En escuela, yo estudié estudios internacionales y psicología y ruso también. Yo hablo ruso, mejor de español.
Wow, muy bien.
Fortunately, gracias. Pero, ahora necesito practicar español.
Okay.
I focused on the wrong language, as my dad said.
Está bien, muy bien. Bueno, me gusta means I like. Me gusta tocar la guitarra y los tambores. Me gusta viajar. Me gusta ir al gimnasio. Me gusta leer y ver películas. Y algo interesante es que yo bailaba con un grupo profesional de salsa. Soy salsero. ¿Y a ti qué te gusta?
Me gusta, I think dibujar is to draw, right?
Draw. Me gusta
Yes.
dibujar.
Sí, yo soy...
And by the way, what you just said was the right answer. What you said earlier on the evaluation, you said me gusta hago dibujar, which hago means I do. So you said I do to draw.
I appreciate the clarification. Yeah, sometimes I subconsciously know how to speak it, and then sometimes I think I overthink it. But sí, me gusta dibujar y soy una artista.
Soy artista.
Artista.
¿Qué tipo de dibujos entonces?
Todos.
Qué bueno. Me gustaría ver tus obras. I would like to see some of your work sometime. Me gusta el arte mucho. Muy bien.
Qué bueno.
Pues, ¿por qué estudiar español? So why study Spanish, right? It's a great language to learn. They speak it in over 20 countries. You live in Westminster, did you say, or Broomfield?
Westminster.
So here in Denver, in the Denver metro area, over 30% of the community speaks Spanish. So it's increasingly becoming a job requirement. I know you're learning it because of your job, right? Your FEMA is paying for the classes for you. So I would imagine it's with the outcome that you can improve your communication with the Spanish-speaking community.
Un razón sí, pero quiero hablar en español para mi familia también en México.
Nice. Muy bien, perfecto. Well, it's a great language to learn. A mí me encanta. I use what I call a holistic approach to Spanish. So for you, we can kind of focus a little bit more on the Mexican dialect. I lived in, as I mentioned, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, y España. But then if you include the United States as a Spanish-speaking country, which I do, there's a lot of different dialects that I've gotten used to, right? So I like to teach a little bit of all of it. It's okay to make mistakes. These are conversation classes, which means I want you to talk as much as possible. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them. Y con esto vamos a comenzar la lección. Hoy vamos a repasar cómo presentarnos, los verbos regulares y el alfabeto. Vamos a aprender la forma de usted, el verbo estar, para hablar de condiciones y emociones. First, let's review. This is just some kind of housekeeping here. And I asked you some of these on the test, and in one of them, at least, you didn't know. So, ¿cómo se dice? Means, how do you say, right? ¿Qué significa was the one that you didn't understand when I said, ¿qué significa libro, right? So this is just the opposite of how do you say. It's what does it mean? So if you want to learn how to say something in Spanish, you say, ¿cómo se dice pencil, right? But if you don't understand what something means, you would say, ¿qué significa lápiz, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta? You know what that means?
Can I ask a question?
Muy bien. No entiendo.
I don't understand.
Repite, por favor.
Repeat, please.
Más despacio, por favor.
More slowly, please.
Perfecto, muy bien. Entonces, Luis, ¿qué necesitan los alumnos para tomar notas importantes en la clase?
¿Cómo se dice? ¿Qué significa alumnos?
Students, it's just another word for estudiante.
Oh, okay. Los alumnos necesitan un lápiz y papel para tomar notas importantes en la clase.
¿Qué necesitamos para saber el tiempo?
Necesitamos un reloj para saber el tiempo.
¿Qué necesita el maestro para escribir y borrar durante una clase?
¿Qué significa es borrar?
Borrar, to erase.
To erase. Oh, okay. El maestro necesita un bolígrafo o una pluma. I guess it depends on where you're from. Creo que bolígrafo y borrar para las clases.
Está bien, muy bien. ¿Qué necesitamos para sentarnos en la clase?
No entiendo la frase sentarnos.
Sentarnos es decir to sit down.
Oh, okay. Necesitamos las sillas para sentarnos en la clase.
¿Qué necesita el maestro para mostrar una presentación?
El maestro necesita un proyector para una presentación.
¿Qué necesitamos para ver en un cuarto oscuro?
¿Qué significa oscuro?
Dark.
What is it?
Dark.
Dark, okay. Oh, okay. Necesitamos los teléfonos o o fuego para ver en un cuarto oscuro.
¿Qué necesitas para botar basura?
¿Qué es botar? Is that to throw out?
Yeah, good. Muy bien.
Yes, okay. Si necesito las bolsas para botar basura.
Perfecto. ¿Y qué necesitamos para mandar correo electrónico?
Necesitamos I understand the question. I don't know how to respond to it. So what do we need to run electricity?
No.
Okay.
So correo, correr means to run, but correo is mail. So correo electrónico would be email.
To send an email. Okay.
Exacto.
Entiendo. Gracias.
Everyone gets that confused at first. So, ¿qué necesitamos para mandar correo electrónico?
Necesitamos una computadora.
Perfecto. Do you know the alphabet?
Probably not correctly. Like I know how to use the alphabet, but I don't know if I know the name of each of the letters.
Okay.
A, B, C, D, E, F, E. I don't know G.
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 E.
H.
H.
No sé. H. I. J. No sé.
J.
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 Okay. No sé qué.
K.
K. L o L.
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 M.
M. N.
N. Muy bien.
N. O. P. No sé Q.
Q.
Q. R.
R.
R. S. T. U. V,
V.
V, and then
V.
W.
V doble.
V double. Okay. Man, this one.
X.
X. Okay. That one also can't be E. So what's that one?
Y.
Y and Zeta.
Muy bien. Just so you know, couple of things since you weren't in the first level with me. This is color coordinated by the vowel sound. So here we have A, J, K, Zeta. So these are all going to produce that A sound, right? The ones in blue are going to produce the A sound, right? B, C, D, F, A, H, etc. We only have two for E and X. Just one for O, the green one is O, and then two for the red, U and Ku. You mentioned a couple of things just to point out that you weren't necessarily wrong. So the letter V used to be called the B. They've changed it to Ube. The W, and this is also a regional thing. In some countries, it's pronounced W. Some people do call it W. So if that's the way you learned it, then that's also fine. They changed it to Ube doble, right? The letter Y used to be the Y. Now they changed it so it's A. So they made these official changes to the Spanish alphabet in 2010. So.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, languages change over time. They change and evolve. Like we do not by any means speak the English of Shakespeare. Spanish is no way close to the Spanish of Cervantes, like Don Quixote. If you ever tried to read that book in its original form, like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, every now and then they change things. So, muy bien. I've got a video on my YouTube page for the alphabet. So if you want to check that out, that might be useful for you.
I will refresh that.
By the way, you know, I don't make a big deal about spelling because spelling is really easy in Spanish because it's phonetic, just as long as you know the vowels, which you certainly do. The question I asked you, one of the questions I asked you on the evaluation, the first one you missed was, ¿Cómo se deletrea Luis? How do you spell Luis is what I was asking you. ¿Cómo se deletrea?
Deletrea. Is that two words?
Deletrea is one word. It's from the verb deletrear. Deletrear.
Okay, spell. That's good to know. Deletrea.
Okay, so, ¿qué significa yo?
Yo es I.
Tú.
You.
Él.
He, she. Sorry. Yes,
ella,
he. Ella, she.
Nosotros.
We.
Ellos.
They, masculine.
También. Muy bien. Ustedes.
They, formal.
Ustedes is you all. Yeah, good. You all, y'all. I'm from Georgia, so I say y'all.
Yeah.
So ustedes is the plural form of you in Latin America. All right. What are the verb endings for AR verbs? Yo?
Sorry, maybe I don't understand the question. You want me to conjugate
So
like
just,
how AR verbs are conjugated?
just the endings, yeah. What would it end with in the yo form?
Okay, so would it be okay if I just pick an AR verb and then conjugate that? Is that okay for the purpose of this? Okay,
we're
so
gonna do that next.
Okay,
sure.
so it'll help me, but so yo hablo, so AR for yo is O. It would be as, as, like tú hablas. It would be a for el, ella. Nosotros amos. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes would be an.
Muy bien, right? So if you put it together with hablar, now do the full verb.
Okay. yo hablo, tú hablas, él, ella habla, nosotros hablamos, y ellos, ellas, ustedes hablan.
Perfecto. Muy bien. What about ER verbs? What's the endings?
So it would be O as well for yo. It would be S for tú. It would be E for el, ella. nosotros, it would be hemos. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes. Well, I want to say it's going to be men, wouldn't it?
In.
En, okay.
Okay, so now put it together with comer.
Yo como, tú comes, él, ella come, nosotros comemos.
By the way, for sorry, just to interrupt you here. For el and ella, don't say it together because then you're actually technically in the third person plural. So él come, ella come.
Okay, we'll do.
Just because you're forming neural connections in your brain, and I don't want the signals to get crossed.
No, I understand. That makes sense. And then nosotros comemos. Ellos comen. Ellas comen. Ustedes comen.
Muy bien. Now, last one with the IR verbs.
Yo. Tú would be. I think it would be S.
Muy bien. Yep.
N for Ed
Just
and
A.
ella.
L-A.
Oh,
A.
sorry, my mouth and my mind said two different things, but yes.
That's okay.
Nosotros would be imos.
Muy bien. Excelente. Okay.
And then ellos would be
N.
N as well. Okay.
Okay, so put it together with vivir.
Yo vivo, tú vives. Él vive, ella vive. Nosotros vivimos. And ellos viven. Ellas viven. Ustedes viven.
Perfecto. You probably already know this. Usted is another form of the verb that we use in Spanish to talk to strangers, authority figures, elders, or sometimes, depending on the specific country you're from, talking to a peer for the first time. You familiar with usted?
Más o menos, sí.
Más o menos, yeah.
I understand where you'll use it.
You used it when you greeted me for the first time today, so I was kind of figuring you knew it. So for example, if I wanted like to walk up to a stranger, it'd be better to say, instead of tú hablas, because that's the formal, the familiar form, walking up to a stranger, I say, disculpe, señor, ¿usted habla inglés? So it's technically conjugated as the third person singular. It's not the third person singular, it's the second person singular, but it's conjugated in the third person plural, a third person singular. The way that it made sense to me was relating it to, like, if you've ever watched a movie about royalty, like a royal family, right? When the servants come to talk to the king or to the queen, right? They don't say, do you want another cup of tea? They say, would His Highness like another cup of tea, right? So I think about it that way, like you're actually being so formal, so polite that you're removing yourself from the conversation. And I guess that's why it's conjugated in the third person singular. I don't know.
Really good way to look at it. And Russian, a lot of the languages have something similar, but Russian does the exact same thing.
Really?
With greetings and how they conjugate the verbs.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. So English used to do it too. This is, that's old English. That's Shakespeare's English. We don't do it anymore, but yeah. So if I wanted to say, does he speak Spanish? I would say, él habla español. If I'm talking to a stranger, if you're a stranger, I would say, usted habla español. So AR verbs are going to end with A here, a. So it'd be usted habla. ER verbs end with A, usted come. And then IR verbs also end with A in this form, usted vive. This is what an introduction would look like if you're talking to someone for the first time. So practice asking me these questions.
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Me llamo David.
Mucho gusto, David. ¿Cómo se deletrea su nombre?
D-A-V-I-D.
Okay. I just use mucho gusto. ¿De dónde es usted?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
¿Y dónde vive?
Vivo en Colorado.
Colorado. ¿A qué se dedica?
Soy maestro de español.
Qué bueno. ¿Y qué le gusta hacer?
Me gusta bailar.
Actually, I'll have to ask you where a good, I think there's a salsa place in Denver to dance. So I'll have to get your recommendation.
La rumba.
La rumba? Okay. Mi novia quiere bailar en Denver, salsa, creo.
¿Vamos?
Sí. Dígame algo interesante de usted.
Bueno, me gusta tocar la guitarra. Soy músico.
¿Guitarra española o?
Sí.
Sí.
De
¿Acústica?
hecho, bueno, sabe que no sé tocar la música española mucho.
Okay.
Pero es la música que más me gusta.
Okay. ¿Y tocas guitarra acústica o?
So since we're in the Usted Form, you should say toca.
So usted toca guitarra acústica o electrónico?
Sí, las dos.
Sí, okay.
Pero generalmente la guitarra acústica.
Okay, yo también. ¿Cuál es su número de teléfono?
Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539.
Okay. Estamos en contacto.
Me parece bien.
Hasta luego.
Nos vemos. Okay, muy bien. So here you can kind of see a few of the differences is if you're introducing yourself to like a friend, in a friendly situation versus kind of a complete stranger or an elder or something like that. Okay, so practicing with the Usted form. Now I want you to ask me questions in the Usted form.
Okay. So these terms are slightly vague, so I can have a little bit of creative liberty with how I structure the questions I ask you. Okay. So, but I'm picking from this list here.
Yeah, I mean, you can use really anything, but yeah, these are just kind of suggestions for you.
Okay. Okay, so ¿quiere usted hablarme con su teléfono?
¿Usted quiere hablarme por teléfono? So you don't want to break the verbs up, right? The verbs you put together. So I'll just start with usted. Usted quiere hablarme por teléfono.
Por teléfono. Okay. I'm not sure I understood what I goofed with. So did I put two verbs together?
You said quiere usted hablarme. You put the usted in between two verbs.
Oh, okay. So I would start it off with usted quiere hablarme con su teléfono.
Por teléfono.
Por teléfono. Okay.
And so we are trying to isolate the AR verbs here. So just to kind of simplify your question a little bit, I would say usted habla conmigo por teléfono.
Okay. Entiendo. Okay.
So try that again.
Okay. So
instead of saying, because I think you were trying to say, do you want to talk to me on the phone? But I'm just changing the question to be a little bit more simple. Do you talk to me on the phone?
Okay. Usted
habla
conmigo por teléfono.
No hablo con usted por teléfono.
Okay. Número 2. Okay. Usted camina por el parque.
Sí.
Okay.
Camino por el parque con mi perrito.
Okay. ¿Cómo se llama su perrito?
Se llama Care Bear.
Care Bear. I like that. Viajar, is that to go?
To travel.
To travel? Okay. ¿Usted viaja por las montañas?
Sí, me gusta viajar por las montañas.
Okay. Y cuando usted ordena un bebito, I'm overcomplicating this. En un restaurante, ¿usted ordena una cerveza?
No, no ordeno una cerveza.
Okay. I don't know what ron is.
Ron means rum, like Bacardi.
Oh, okay. Huh. So, ¿usted toma ron?
No, no tomo ron.
Y usted toma alcohol, ¿no?
No, no tomo alcohol.
Muy bien. Okay. ¿Usted reserva una mesa para su familia?
No, normalmente no reservo una mesa para mi familia.
Okay. Entradas, is that you form of entering?
Entradas, so directly it means an entrance, right? A form of an entrance. And without more context, I would call it an appetizer, the entrance of a meal.
Oh.
It can also mean movie tickets or concert tickets, like the entrance. It can mean just the entrance to your house.
Okay. So I'll ask a couple more questions with the AR verbs. What is desear?
Desear, to want, to desire.
Okay. Okay, and I think I know the rest of the verbs then. So, ¿usted reserva entradas?
So without more context here, I don't know if you're trying to say, do you reserve like movie tickets or concert tickets, but you'd need to give a little more context there.
Did I say the reserva?
You did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think I meant to use desea. Desea, do you desire, do you crave appetizers? I don't know. I'm at the tail end of my workday, so I'm probably mixing things up. I'm so tired, but yes.
I get it. It's okay. I do this all day, so I do this.
I can only imagine.
8 hours a day, so yeah. No,
yeah. Okay, so usted desea entradas.
Sí, deseo entradas.
Okay, y usted desea postres también.
Sí, deseo postre.
Okay, and make sure I understand that's pastries or desserts.
Dessert, specifically
Desserts. Okay. Okay. Let me see if I haven't used one yet. ¿Usted habla en español mucho?
Sí. Hablo en español.
Yes.
De hecho, yo hablo más en español que en inglés hoy en día.
It's very impressive. Okay, so usted habla en inglés poco?
No, porque también hablo inglés. Es que yo hablo mucho. Soy maestro, siempre estoy hablando. Pero hablo más en español en un día normal. Muy bien, ahora con los verbos ER.
Okay, so usted bebe vino?
No bebo vino.
No, okay. Y usted aprende aprende español?
No aprendo español. Yo enseño español.
Ujú. ¿Y usted corre en el gimnasio?
Sí, corro en el gimnasio.
Ok. ¿Usted aprende algo interesante?
Generalmente aprendo algo interesante todos los días.
Ok. ¿Usted corre en la calle?
Prefiero correr en el gimnasio.
Ok.
A veces corro en la calle, pero prefiero correr en el gimnasio.
Ok. ¿Usted bebe 8 vasos de agua
Sí, bebo 8 vasos de agua.
en un día?
Sí, por día.
Sí, qué bueno. ¿Usted aprende italiano también?
No aprendo italiano. Me gustaría, pero no lo aprendo.
Ok. ¿Usted corre o usted come por la mañana?
Sí, como por la mañana.
Ok. ¿Usted come carne?
Sí, como carne.
Ok. I actually don't know what dulces is.
Sweets.
Sweets? Okay. ¿Usted come dulces?
Claro, como dulces mucho.
Okay.
Last round with our IR verbs now.
Okay. So you conjugate it like he, she, I verbs. So it would still be usted vive?
Muy bien.
Okay. So usted vive in Denver?
Sí, vivo en Denver.
Okay. ¿Qué es poesía?
Poesía significa poetry.
Poetry. Okay. ¿Usted escribe poesía? ¿Poesía?
Sí, escribo.
Okay. What is discutir?
Discutir means to argue.
To argue. Okay, so
It sounds like to discuss, but more often than not, it's kind of used as an argue. So kind of have
okay.
To, yeah.
Okay. And then recibir is to receive.
Muy bien.
Okay. ¿Usted recibe correo electrónico?
Recibo mucho correo electrónico.
Okay. I'm not sure which verb to use for taking the trash out. That's what that is, right? That's what you said.
Bueno, correo basura is junk mail. Basura means trash. Correo is mail. So when you combine it, it's like saying junk mail.
Okay, okay. ¿Usted recibe correo basura?
Sí, recibo mucho correo basura.
¿Y usted vive en una casa?
Sí, vivo en una casa.
Okay.
Y vivo en una escuela.
Oh, ambos sí. So when you have people come in person, your office is at home as well?
La sala de mi casa es mi salón de clase.
Okay. Una carta de amor. Oh, de su trabajo. ¿Usted discute de su trabajo?
A veces. Generalmente no discuto de mi trabajo, pero a veces en círculos académicos, a veces discuto de mi trabajo.
Ok, entiendo. ¿Usted escribe una carta de amor?
No, no escribo una carta de amor.
Ok. ¿Usted recibe cerca de la escuela?
That one doesn't work very well.
Okay, so probably the discute. ¿Usted discute?
No, no discuto cerca de la escuela.
which is close to schools. Okay, so probably vivir would make the most sense to make that.
Do you argue close to the school? That's fine.
Okay.
It works.
If it works, it works. ¿Usted escribe un libro
Sí, escribo un libro.
en español?
Sí.
Sí. ¿Y usted vive con su amor?
Sí, vivo con mi amor.
Qué bueno.
Muy bien. Something that I touch on, I don't really make a big deal out of this, just in case I have a student that's planning on going to Spain, I say I taught it. Vosotros is the ustedes form that is only used in Spain to address people in the familiar form. So kind of like there's a tú y usted. In Spain, there's a vosotros y ustedes. In Latin America, it's always ustedes. Okay. So I just teach it here. If you're talking to strangers in Spain, you would say ustedes hablan inglés. If you're talking to like little kids, you would say vosotros habláis inglés, right? So it's the missing box in the verb chart here. For AR verbs, it ends with ais, so it'd be vosotros habláis. For ER verbs, it's eis, so it'd be vosotros coméis. For IR verbs, it's is, so it'd be vosotros vivís. That's as much as I talk about vosotros in my classes. So
Okay.
it's up to you if you want to learn it. If you're planning a trip to Spain, it would be helpful. But if you go to Mexico a couple of times a year, really, it's not going to do a lot for you there. Yeah.
Okay.
¿Cómo? ¿Cómo means how. How means ¿cómo? ¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien, gracias.
¿Cómo está el tiempo?
Está un poco frío.
¿Y cómo vas a tu trabajo?
Todo bien. Mi trabajo es.
I'm not saying cómo va, I'm saying cómo vas. How do you go to your work?
Oh, okay. Gracias.
If it were cómo va tu trabajo, it would be how is your work going? But here I'm saying how do you go to your work? Very, very tiny little change.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Well, yo trabajo en mi casa, so no necesito un carro.
Muy bien. ¿Cómo te gustan estas clases?
¿Estas clases en español? Okay. Me gustó mucho las clases en español.
Me gustan.
Me gustan.
¿Cómo limpias tu carro?
Sorry, I'm going to go back one more. So
why is it gustan with an N?
Yes.
Yeah, so gustar, most people learn it as to like, right? It really doesn't mean to like, it really means to please. So you're actually saying, here I'm actually asking you, how did these classes please you? That's the direct word by word. So it's conjugated in the third person plural because estas clases are what's changing the verb gustar.
So if you asked me, if you asked me, ¿te gusta estas clases? It would be appropriate for me to say me gusto as a response.
No, that would actually be incorrect altogether.
Okay, I guess I don't understand where I would say me gusto compared to me gustan.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more in the future.
Okay.
Directly speaking, you would almost never say gusto, almost never.
Oh, okay.
It has a place, but that's something we'll see in the future. Gustar is typically going to be conjugated as gusta or gustan. It is a regular verb. It's a regular AR verb. So it's grammatically correct to say gusto, gustas, gusta, gustamos, gusta. However, because we're talking about these classes, estas clases, we're saying they please you.
Okay, I understand.
That AN ending is for the they form, right? Most people learn it as like, but it's really please. It really means please. So there's no direct way to say to like something. Like the verb to like is something that, so you studied Russian, right? Like from what I understand, Russian does not have a verb to be. Is that correct?
Russian doesn't have a lot of things that should be there, but yes, that is correct.
Right. So there's an example. So it's just one of those little disconnections from the language. There's not a verb to like in Spanish. So you have to look for the equivalent way of saying something. And it's just backwards from how it works in English. So you don't say that you like something, you say that something pleases you.
Understood. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Gracias. Y para número 5, yo limpio mi carro con jabón.
Perfecto. Muy bien. Okay, so we're going to leave it here for today. I think this is definitely the right place to start with you, right?
I would agree. Yeah, there's definitely some. The thing is I feel like my vocabulary is expansive, but has pockets of information that's missing. And if we were to jump too far ahead, we would be stumped. So it's a good place.
I think this is good, right? From my experience, you know, grammatically, this is the right level. There's maybe vocabulary words that you haven't learned yet that I've taught, you know, but vocab is vocab. You learn a word, but grammatically, I think this is the right, you know, you knew the regular verbs. Cool. So I don't know if this would work with your schedule, but right now I have this class happening. I just did this exact same lesson yesterday. I only have one student in the class, and that is on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 4. Is there any way you could make that work with your schedule?
Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 4. Surprisingly enough, I think so, yes.
Okay, if you ever have to miss a class or something because of work, you know, we'll just have to talk about plan B when that happens. But if typically speaking, you could do that, that would work perfectly because, like I said, I've got this exact same class. It very rarely works out that this happens, but this happened, so it would be perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
The only thing you need to do at this point is to get the book that corresponds with this level.
Okay.
So this is our second level of Spanish. Give me 1 second. Oh, should be actually in the presentation. All right, so this is the book. It's available on Amazon. I think it's like $30. So I'm gonna, if I pop this into the chat for you, will that work?
Yes, that'd be perfect.
All right, so your company, FEMA, paid for 10 lessons for you. So you're all set there. It's just this book that you have to get. Okay,
gotcha. This is probably a good, just a good book to have always. So I don't mind using personal funds for that.
Cool.
Awesome.
I mean, I suppose you can submit it to FEMA as well for a reimbursement. I've worked with a few of your employees.
Yeah, there's actually one person directly on my external affairs team, Michael, who recommended you.
Houston, Michael Houston?
Michael Houston, yeah, he's mostly in 1 year. Yeah, he's a great guy. I'm sure you've heard plenty of his jokes, perhaps.
Yeah, I like Michael a lot. He's been a great student to work with.
Good, I'm happy to hear that. Well, David, I have to hop on a call here in a couple minutes, but mucho gusto. I appreciate everything and making this happen. And
real quick, did you click on that link? Because
I did. I got the link.
Perfect.
It's all queued up on my browser here. And then do you think you could perhaps send me an invite for the Tuesday, Thursday classes?
Exacto. Yep. I'm going to send you that calendar invitation right now. If for whatever reason you don't get it like immediately, just let me know. So because I use a Google Calendar and sometimes people get them and sometimes they don't. I don't fully understand.
Perfect.
Okay, muy bien.
All right. Gracias por todos y mucho gusto.
Nos vemos mañana.
Adiós.